Over the last couple of weeks, we've seen planting, soil preparation, harvesting and replanting take place on the show. Earthworms are magic little helpers when it comes to healthy garden soil. And this morning, Ben Getz is in studio to tell us a bit more about earthworm farming. Good morning, Ben. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
Very, very good, thank you. So tell me more about farming with earthworms.
Well, essentially, an earthworm farm is it's a home composting system.
Yeah.
In fact, it doesn't have to be at home. It can be large scale, but this system we've got here is a home composting system which takes your kitchen scraps and newspaper shreddings and turns it into very high quality compost and liquid fertilizer for your vegetables.
Wow, that's pretty amazing, because when I looked at it, I thought it was just really rich soil, but in fact it is things that you've discarded after your cooking, and then newspaper as well.
Yes, absolutely. There are a lot of other things that one can add: grass clippings, dry leaves. Earthworm farm is quite essential if you're going to have your own garden at home.
That's amazing. Now, what are the benefits, though, of having an earthworm farm?
One of them is that your dustbin isn't going to smell as bad. So if you don't have this green waste, and the same thing for the landfill sites, it's actually a way of recycling, or in fact transforming this what's often considered waste, scrap food, into this very, very high quality compost. In fact, it's considered the highest quality compost, at least 10 times more nutritious than any other kind of compost. It also improves the quality of the soil, because the earthworm castings or the earthworm compost is very, very rich in microorganisms, the life that helps to keep the soil healthy.
Without the smell? Because in my mind, I used to remember compost having a terrible smell about it.
No, if you smell this, it's got an incredibly sweet smell.
It does.
And if it's well managed, there's no flies, there's no smell. Although it takes quite a while to produce the compost, they're very efficient at what they do, but this is a small space, so it takes a while to produce quite a lot of compost. But the earthworm tea literally comes out every single day. You can use this.
And how long would it take to have a bucket like this?
It really depends on how many worms you've got and how often you feed them. But realistically, I would say 4 to 6 months for this to be fully complete. What you see here is not totally processed. You can still see little bits of food.
It's quite chunky still too.
Yeah, it's quite chunky. Once it's fully done, you really won't see that it will be a lot smoother. I mean, this is an example of one that's very new. You know, it's not very full, and you can see a lot of
all the veggies and onions and everything in there. Now let's get back to the earthworms.
Yes.
Can one use any type of earthworms, or are these special earthworms?
Very special. There's over 3,000 species of earthworms on the planet, and they all do something beneficial, and they all have a job to do. But there's only 2 out of those 3,000 that one can use for this kind of earthworm farming. I'll see if I can find some. They don't actually like the light, so
I can imagine.
That's why
they're not on the top.
I have to dig a little bit. Here's one.
Oh, they're running from you.
Just put it in my hand here.
Oh, wow.
This kind of earthworm is affectionately called a red wriggler.
A red wriggler. Ah!
Okay, and what makes this kind, as I said, there's 2 kinds, and they're both called red wrigglers, and they look very similar. So what makes them unique, what makes them special, is that they reproduce really, really quickly, and they're top feeders. A lot of earthworms will feed deep into and they'll eat soil, and they'll be deep under the soil, whereas the red wrigglers move upwards. They eat upwards, and they tend to eat organic matter, which is why this kind of food is absolutely perfect for them. And see if I can find a little earthworm egg here, or cocoon. Here's one. In fact, this earthworm farm is full of them. It's a very little guy over here. You see that there?
And how many earthworms will a little egg like that produce?
Anywhere from 3 to 10. So an average for a healthy adult earthworm is to produce 1,000 earthworms a year. One earthworm can reproduce another 1,000 in a year.
Absolutely fascinating. This is so rich, and it's so wonderful to know the role that earthworms play in having a good and productive garden as well. Ben, thank you so much for being with us.
Great
Always
pleasure.
good having you on the show. And if you would like to have a happy, healthy garden, earthworms are the magic little helpers.